Yeah, we're on? Great. Okay, so tonight is Zayin Adar. And the Ben Ish Chai says that on this night we should light 2 candles, one for Moshe Rabbeinu and one for Esther Malka. So we're going to do that right now. Okay? And really not supposed to say anything, but he says to say, the Ben Ish Chai says to say, Moshe Rabbeinu, Klal Yisrael is in Sarah. That's it. So I'm going to light this on the Ilah Nishmas Moshe Rabbeinu. And the Ilah Nishmas Esther Bas Abichail. Moshe Rabbeinu, Klal Yisrael b'tzara gdola. Okay. And then he says afterwards that we should say 5 times, hold on 1 second, Tzadi Tes, 5 times. And when you say Perek Tzadi Tes afterwards, there's a very big, I guess it's an Eis Ratzon, there's a very big Eis Ratzon to ask for your own personal things, because it's Moshe Rabbeinu's Yertai. So, here we go. Let's begin. Hi, welcome. Hello, welcome. Here, come sit next to me. So we were just saying, we just started, just so you should know, and we were just saying that that tonight's Zayin Adar, Moshe Rabbeinu's Yortzeit, and the Ben Ish Chai says to light 1 candle tonight for Moshe Rabbeinu and 1 candle for Esther Malka, and then to say Perek Tzadi Tes 5 times. So I'm thinking whether we should say it now 5 times or not. What do you guys think? Should we do it now? Tzadi Tes? Yeah? Great. So if you have it, you can I guess Google it. If you have such a smart device. Otherwise, do you by any chance have any siddurim?
Of course.
Or Tehillim? Yeah. Perfect. Thank you so much. And hold on, I'll just read this to you, okay? Okay, so we say Moshe Rabbeinu Am Yisrael b'tzar, ve'omein Moshe, and Moshe stands up, umevatel es gzeira, and he's mevatel the gezerah. There's no way to comprehend what Moshe Rabbeinu is doing for Klal Yisrael and Shemayim. And it says that there's no place in the Rikiah, there's no place in all the Olamos that Moshe Rabbeinu is not a part of, is not there. Until his children are answered. In other words, he's constantly in action for Klal Yisrael. He's constantly in Pe'ula for Klal Yisrael, davening, asking, requesting. And there's a big Eis Ratzon tonight, Dafka during his Yortzeit, because he's such a mevakesh for Klal Yisrael, and Dafka because Klal Yisrael is in such a not good time right now. That's why it's important to do this, and it's important to take it out this time and to light your candles when you go home. And there's no specific time to do it. You just light for them, Esther Bas Avichail and Moshe Rabbeinu, and then the 5 prakim of Tehillim. So. Let's see. Is it long? Is Tzadi Tes long?
No.
Okay. So I guess we can just hit it. Go ahead. Totally do it. I don't have it here. Do you have an extra sitter by any chance? No. Okay.
That's the weirdest. Oh, cool.
Tehillim Perek Tzadi Tes right here. Okay. So anybody watching this, you can totally fast forward this part. because we are going to say some Tehillim. This is not coming up for me. Welcome. Come sit down. All right. So everyone is saying Perek Tzadi Tes because it's Moshe Rabbeinu's Yurtzeit, and the Barish Chai says to say Perek Tzadi Tes 5 times. And then to like ask for your own bakasha because it's a very big. It's like an Eis Ratzon in Shemayim. So that's what we're doing now. It's not getting big. All right. Just because my phone. All right. Okay. So I'm going to start. Okay, so tonight's topic is about. So it's technically about Purim, but it's you know how these classes usually go. It's about Purim, but then there's a whole other thing. So I want to just say, first of all, I want to just stress that. Purim is first of all, Purim is the highest. We know that it's the highest day of the year. There isn't higher. There isn't anything holier than that. It says that, the Arizal says that the light that comes down on Purim is higher than any light that comes down on Shabbos or any Yantif or on Yom Kippur. It's the light that comes down on Purim is the light of the future. It's the light of the future. In other words, it's the light that was hidden in the Gan Eden. That's the light that comes down on Purim. Now, this is what I want to start. This is what I want to talk about. We spoke about this a little bit once or twice, maybe in Shifa, but I just want to recap a second. It's like this. Imagine walking into a room. And you know the room by heart. You know the room cold. You know exactly where everything is in the room. And you know that the urn and the cups and the tea and the coffee are on that end of the room. That's where it is. And it's pitch dark. And it's like in the middle of the night, and it's and you're just like you forgot where the light switch is. It's not your house. You forgot where the light switch is. And you want to just get a cup of tea. This is something that, like, I don't know how many of you have been to Sternberg. Anyone here been to Sternberg?
Yeah.
So, like, the dining room is like the type that, like, oh, it's like in the middle of the night and I really want a cup of tea because my throat is killing me. So you walk to the dining room like 7 miles away and you finally get to the dining room and you get, there's always like this gigantic urn in the family dining room, and they have the cups and then whatever. So imagine you walking into this dining room, you know exactly where the urn is, you're in the dining room every single day, but it's pitch dark and you don't know where the light switch is. You're not sure exactly where the light switch is, but you're like, it's fine, I'll manage. And you walk in and you're walking towards the urn. You're walking towards the urn and all of a sudden you're just like getting beat up by the chairs and the tables, and you're getting scratched and you're limping over to the urn. You finally get to the urn. You get to the urn and you're like finally like you're out of breath. You like fell and you tripped and you got bruised and bumped and scratched and whatever. And you finally get to the urn. You take your cup, you stick it under the spout, and instead of sticking your cup under the spout, you stick your wrist under the spout, not knowing, not realizing, and you turn it on and you start shrieking on top of your lungs and you just basically run out of the dining room. So what's the idea? The idea is, what's the problem? Are the tables and chairs the problem? Are the tables and chairs the problem? This is not class, this is interactive, we're friends. Are the tables and chairs the problem? No, the tables and chairs are not the problem. What's the problem? Beautiful, the light's off. I don't see anything, it's dark. So therefore I'm constantly bumping into things because I don't see anything because it's dark. That's the concept. The concept is like this. Anything that I do, and now I'm taking you to a higher level of understanding of the concept of mitzvahs, the concept of Torah. Now, anything that I do that's a spiritual act, anything, I smile at someone. Chazal say that when you smile at someone, when you meet someone for the first time, when you see them, and you smile at them, and you show them your teeth, then that is considered a mitzvah. First, you have to show them your teeth. Because imagine if I would walk into the room and I would sit here and I'd be like, everyone would be like, snob, right? Why? Because if I would come here, if I would sit down here and I'd be like, hey, how are you? Hi, what's up? And then it's a whole different experience. Chazal are so smart, I'm not to say, but they are so smart that the idea is to show people your teeth and then you get the mitzvah. There's all these criteria in mitzvahs. So many criteria in mitzvahs. And people that are not religious, and I work with so many people that are not religious, they're like, why are you being so like nitty gritty? Like so many details in Judaism. Do this, hangnail, you can't play your hangnail on Shabbos, you can't do this, you can't do that, you have to check your clothes, you have to check your food, you have to check your, at a certain point we had to check our wigs, and people weren't wearing wigs, when you were like way little. I remember my teachers in high school, every teacher walked in with a tichel. No, every teacher walked in with a tichel. It was crazy, we were all like, every teacher, it looked like she was all dressed up and a snood. What?
No, because India.
Yeah, right, the whole India thing. Right. So, there's so many like details. We're so like into detail. Like you have to cover this and you have to cover that, and it's exactly and how many and how much and Pesach and everyone's weighing and everyone's washing and the bugs and the lettuce and the bugs and then this and like we're so into details. And the idea is, I just had a class like that last night and they were just like, what's with the religious people? They're so into details. Like why can't you just be overall like spiritual and just sit here like, and connect? What's with all the like running? Like, what's up with all the details? And it's very, very, very crucial that we understand this. The concept is very simple and it's very, very deep. The concept is like this. Any single time that I do a spiritual act in my life, anything, from smiling to someone, to keeping the holy Shabbos, to organizing an evening of learning, to giving tzedakah, to not speaking Lashon Hara, to throwing a certain skirt out because it's enough, I'm not wearing that because it's wrong, even though it looks so great on me, or whatever it is. Anytime you take a step into the spiritual realm, what happens? You draw down a light. It's a spiritual light. The reason that we have light, and a sun, the reason that we have all these things, it says in Chazal, is because Hashem wants us to understand what light means. Light means if we were all living in the dark, living in darkness, or living just with candles, even though candles are also light, but let's say we were just living in the dark and we were able to see the dark, we wouldn't understand the concept really, the whole idea, what it means to do a mitzvah. To us, it's like, okay, it's a mitzvah. We're so used to, we grew up with this like concept, like, hey, it's a mitzvah, you should say bracha or whatever. And it's almost like it went from being back in the desert when they came out of Mitzrayim. You know that back in the desert when they came out of Mitzrayim, they used to do super duper duper, the Rambam says this. They were 3 times a day, each one would find their own place in the desert, and they would go out and do his bodedus. They would go out and just talk to Hashem. They didn't have Shachris Mincha Ma'ariv. They didn't have to go to shul. They didn't have to do all these things. That's how it worked. That's how it was set up. That's how the reason that we have the Siddur today is b'diavad. The reason that the Anshe Knesset Agdola was attacking the Siddur is b'diavad. Why is it b'diavad? Because ideally that's how Hashem wanted things to be. Hashem wanted people to be so connected, the Jews to be so connected that 1 second I have to stop. I've stopped talking to you. Bye. And I gotta go. And I just want to talk to Hashem. I just need to do this because I want to connect to Him. And at a certain point, the Jewish people at that time were getting further and further away from that. And people stopped doing that. And people stopped going out into the desert and stopped praying and stopped doing his Hisbodedus. And then the Anshe Knesset Agdola said, 1 second, so we need a siddur. And we need to make this like halachic, because otherwise people are not going to do it. The idea is that once I'm a halachic Jew, once I'm already keeping halacha, once I'm already doing it, the idea is to be super duper duper not robotic about it. Super duper duper spiritual about what I'm doing. That's the idea. The more spiritually connected I am to my actions in my life, whatever it is that I'm doing, the more connected I am to what I'm doing, the more passionate I am about that thing. Imagine taking a class that you have no interest in. Zero interest in. For you to do well in that class, you have to push yourself so hard, it can bring you to tears. For you to do well in that class. And then there's another class, another subject, another topic that you really connect to and you really, really like. For you to do well in that class is not even such a big deal. And for you to study, you're enjoying the study. You like the study. You like the information. You're connecting to it. You're like wowed by it. That's the idea. The idea is that, okay, so now we're doing everything. Be'erech. Okay? We wear the skirts, we wear the shirts, we keep Shabbos, we cover our hair when we get married, we check our coats for shatnez, we check our food for hechshers, we do all that, we go through all the steps of being a Jew. We keep halacha. Some less, some more, but we try to keep halacha. And when we find out that something's wrong, we try to limit it. We try to figure out a better way to stay away from that. When we find out that something's wrong. And then people fall into taivas, but that's a whole different thing. But on Al Pi Rov, Orthodox people try to keep to halacha. Now once I'm doing halacha, once I'm keeping halacha, there's a whole other side that's called the ruach. There's a whole other side that's called spirituality. In other words, if I'm able to connect to what I'm doing in a spiritual way, then the thing that I'm doing itself, I become so alive in. It becomes so alive to me. I love it. It's not like studying, it's not like davening, it's not like, oh my gosh, wearing this is such a bummer, or eating this is such a bummer, or not eating there is such a bummer, or not going there is such a bummer. It's not even anymore, because I'm so involved, because I'm in love with what I'm doing. That's the ideal. That's the idea. So let's try to get there. And what I was saying about the light, the reason that we have sun and light and whatever it is, electricity or whatever, is for us to understand this concept. What's the concept? That any single time that I do a spiritual act in my life, I draw light down here into this planet, into us, into where we are. We draw a spiritual light. It's called or. It's called shefa or. We draw a spiritual light into our lives. Every single time I do anything that's spiritual, I draw a spiritual light into my life. What does this light mean? What does this light do for me? First of all, number one, you know what we always learn in high school or whatever, wherever you've learned this, that you do a mitzvah here and someone across the world gets affected and wants to keep Shabbos. Someone across the world is all of a sudden inspired and wants to do something. All of a sudden they're like, oh my gosh, we want to go to a class. Out of nowhere. Because how does it work? It works that we're all connected, really, really, we're all connected. If we had spiritual vision, if we had X-ray vision, we would see a rope connecting all of us. We're all literally sisters. We're all connected. Klal Yisrael is connected. And the people that care about halacha and Torah, which in the grand scheme of things, and which in compared to the entire Jewish nation, is not so many people, unfortunately. So the people that care, which is hopefully us, about halacha and about Torah and about Hashem and Shchinta Begalusa and the Gauls that we're in and all the things that we're going through and everything that's happening to us as a nation and everything that we come from and who we are and what we stand for and what we represent and Mamlechas Kohanim and Goy Kodesh, and the more we connect to these things, the more we understand that we are very, very, very much at the top of this connection, of this body, of this Am Yisrael, K'yesh Echad B'Lev Echad. We're very, very much at the top. The people that actually care about Hashem and halacha and Torah, we're very, very much at the top. Anything that happens in the world today, Hashem is talking to the people that have ears. We always learn that there's a volcano that happens in China, it's for Klal Yisrael. There's an earthquake that happens somewhere, it's for Klal Yisrael. And even more so, there are terrorist attacks or whatever's going on and all the stuff that's going on in Israel and around the world and the anti-Semitism, it's for Klal Yisrael. And now it's directly at us. But Hashem does all these things. And today, there's no Nevi'im. Right? Today there's no Nevi'im. How does Hashem talk to us? Hashem talks to us through circumstances, through things that He does in the world. That's how Hashem communicates with us. And who is He going to communicate with? He's going to communicate with people that think that when something happens in Israel, when something happens somewhere in the world, it's because Bibi did that, or because Obama did this, or because we really know behind the scenes, behind the curtains, what's really going on. We really know that it's a whole spiritual war against good versus evil, Esau versus Yaakov. We know that that's what's going on. We know that the more mitzvahs we do, the more we connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the more we connect to Torah, the more we're more nefesh for Torah, we know that we are mechazik, the good side, and then Klal Yisrael has a chance to win this thing. So when anti-Semitism is growing, and terrorism is growing, and all these things are growing, and kids are falling off the derech left and right, and kids are falling into terrible things left and right, tons.
You're saying it's because we're not doing enough?
It's not that I'm saying that we're not doing enough. The way it works...
Hashem's showing us that we could be doing better. Like, all these bad things are happening is because we...
Because Klal Yisrael has to become... Klal Yisrael has to get together. Klal Yisrael has to get together. We have to get together. We have to wake up.
It's like a warning type of thing to try to, like, wake up and make us do the right thing.
I don't like to say these words. I don't like to say that it's our fault and it's a warning. I don't like to describe Hashem that way. It's not the way it works. There's a system. And the system is like this. When Yaakov is up, Esav is down. When Esav is up, Yaakov is down. That's how it works.
It's not like when we do better things, evil comes with it. It's like a more challenge, because the closer you get to Hashem, the more challenges you have, because you're on a high level.
That's a different idea.
What you're talking about.
No, we're talking about there's kochos in the world, there's energies in the world, there's forces in the world that Hashem created. Just like Hashem created Malachim, and the Yitzhahara, and the Yitzhatov, and all the other forces that are around in the world. Before you go to sleep, you say, Mimini Michal, Mismala Gabriel. When you say that, by the way, when you go to sleep and say, Mimini Michal, Mismala Gabriel, Malfana Uriel, Machara Yufal, Va'arochi Shchinas, when you say those things, imagine, really, really imagine a gigantic angel standing next to you. Because that's what it is. That's what it is, a malach, a gigantic malach. Hi, Michael, what's up? Hi, what's up? They're really there. When you say that, I want to tell you something, that it's a very, you know that story of that girl that was walking down the street?
Yeah.
You know that story? It's an incredible story. I'm not going to say no, but because you all know it, but it really is. If I would be able to see spirituality, if I would be able to see what happens to me when I say a bracha, or when I don't know, do anything, or stop myself from speaking Lashon Hara, or give tzedakah, or whatever it is that I'm doing, if I would see what happens to me and what happens around me, I would be floored. I would be like, oh my gosh. I wouldn't stop. I would be a crazy fanatic Rebbetzin, constantly 24/7, not sleeping. I would be on a high just from like, what's going on here? It's crazy. But what's the idea? What's the concept? The concept is like this, and I really want to get to this whole thing. What's the idea? The idea is that when I do any kind of spiritual act in any direction, what I'm doing is bringing down this light. What does this light do? This light creates clarity in the world, spiritual clarity. That's why our teachers used to say, then you keep whatever here, someone across the world all of a sudden decides to do whatever. Put on a skirt, eat kosher for the first time in her life, or whatever it may be. How does that work? Because that's how it works. When I make a bracha, when I do any mitzvah, I bring down light into the world, and that light spreads spiritual clarity. So people are like, oh, there's a God. Oh, Torah is real. And you're like, yeah, right. No, yeah, really. I teach mostly secular girls, mostly, my whole week. Every night I'm somewhere else. And every single night, the kids that I teach are like so thirsty. No, they're like in jeans, and they're like whatever, and they're partying, and they're boyfriends, and their girlfriends, and they're on Facebook, and they're in a million different things, and they're all over the place, and they're in college, and they're whatever. And the second I teach, first of all, the room is packed. And that's first of all. Second of all, they're thirsty. They're like, give us. And it's amazing. It's amazing. Because they're so thirsting for truth. They're so thirsting for truth, because everything out there is just pastrami, baloney. How does that work? It's just a bunch of baloney. And they know it. Especially Jews that are sensitive to truth. They know it, that there's nothing behind all these things. Some people get really, really into it, but most people they want to hear more about spirituality. That's the concept. Any single time I do a mitzvah, I bring down light to my life. So, I in my life, I have much less of a chance to get confused. I have much less of a chance to fall in the gutter. Why? Because the light's on. I know how to get to where I'm going to. I know how to get to that urn. The light's on. I'm not bumping into tables and chairs all over the place. So many times people kind of like they're turned off, or they had enough, or they just want to leave me alone. I just want to do my own thing, and I just want to whatever, just leave me alone. I'll keep Shabbos, I'll do whatever, but I'm not into it. And the more they move away from them, and I just want to just add here, and it's really, really important that we add this here, that kavana, intention, is everything. It's everything. In other words, where you are in your mind very, very much will reflect on what your life is, what's happening in your life. In other words, thoughts become reality very, very much. Our thoughts become our reality. What we think about, if we're negative, or if we think that we're not going to be matzliach, or we think we're never going to get married, or if we think we're never going to lose weight, or we think I'm never going to be whatever it is, whatever it may be, if I contemplate these thoughts over and over again in my head, my thoughts become my reality. That's how it works. There are many, many sources for this. I can give it to you after the class, God willing. But that's the concept. The concept is when I'm choosing in my mind to do something called mind training, when I train my mind to think only big things, only like huge things. Hashem, you could do anything. You are called Yachol. I am nothing. Who am I to say I can't? Who am I to say there's no way in heck that I'm able to do this? Who am I to say these things? Because I don't know. You're so big. You're so huge. And all I know is that I know that all I have to do is ask you. All I have to do is throw it on you. This is what I want. This is what I want to see in my life. I want to get to the ultimate spiritual high in my life. Doing all of your mitzvahs, connecting to Klal Yisrael, helping Klal Yisrael. Money? I don't know. Shidduchim? I don't know. I don't know anything. College? Yeah, I don't know. I'm going through it. I'm doing it. But that's where I see myself. That's my goal. Your goal has to be very, 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 very clear. And it can't be realistic. It can't be like, no, but it's not realistic. Tomorrow people don't need. No, we're not here to be realistic. Jewish people are not about being realistic. We are above Teva. We are above Teva. We are meant to shine. We are meant to be an Or L'Goyim. We are meant to inspire the world. We're not meant to just be like, whatever, our religious Amish people. That's not what we're meant to be. We are here to light up the world. That's what we're here to do. How do we light up the world? By our maisim, by the Torah that God gave us, and by the things that we do. And it's amazing. It's amazing how it works. It's amazing how it works. Listen to this. Purim. Listen to this. All right. The Arizal says that the light that Purim affects is called Gemar HaTikun. You listening to this? He explains, the Arizal. Okay, this is not like, Rabbi Rosenblum from... No, this is the Arizal. Okay? He explains that this light, this energy that comes down on Purim can't be grasped by any human mind. This is all Zohar. Okay, this is all Kabbalah. Anything that the light that comes down on Purim we can't understand what it is. We don't know what it is. We don't know where it is. We don't know how it is. We don't know. All we know is that it is. It is. The light doesn't come down on Shabbos or any Yom Tif or Yom Kippur. It's a light from future. It's a light from the future time. It's a light from Asad level. That's a light. In other words, the light that comes down on Purim, again, I'm talking about spiritual light. The koach, the kochos, the energies, the strengths that come into the world, the spiritual strengths, the spiritual uppers, okay? The spiritual, explosions all over the place that come down into the world on Purim, never ever come down into the world. It's a light that will be when Mashiach will be. We're not privy to it today because we can't handle it. But we get it one day a year, and that day is Purim. And he says like this. He says, that's why Purim will never ever cease. Because it's a yantif, it's a future yantif. It's a yantif that belongs to Mashiach's time. It's not a yantif that belongs to God's time. It's a yantif that belongs to Mashiach's time. Because that's how powerful it is. That's how big it is. So what are we supposed to do? Here we go. Let's begin. Okay, this is something that we know. We don't commemorate, Jewish people don't commemorate what was. We're not doing President's Day week or weekend or whatever it is to remember and to remember Washington or Lincoln or whoever it is. We don't do that. We live the moment. In other words, Purim is not something that that happened a long time ago in Shushan, in Persia, with a king and a guy that was really evil, and a tzaddik that was really holy, and a beautiful lady that was also pretty holy. It wasn't something that happened then. It's something that we're experiencing now. In other words, the events that took place then affected the world so much that every single year on that day, the same energies come down that were on that day. Same energies, the same v'nahafochu. What's v'nahafochu? What's v'nahafochu? V'nahafochu is exactly the opposite of what you thought. And it's brilliant, it's crazy. Because it's like, there's no way, this person's dying, there's no way. Right? They're done. The doctor's like, sorry, we gave up, say goodbye. They have like an hour to live. And all of a sudden, this person jumps up. Hey guys, what's up? Going out for pizza? That's v'na'afachu. V'nafachu is like when it's like so one way, and all of a sudden it's like totally the opposite. That's v'nafachu. That is the koach of Purim. That is the koach of Purim. Do you understand the energy, the light of Purim? Do you understand what that means? In other words, go wild with your thoughts on Purim. Go wild with your bakashas on Purim. Go to the extreme, like anything that you're like, it's not practical, it's never going to happen, it's not happening. What do you mean? I live here, I'm in that class, I'm with these girls, I'm with that, I don't care what. The highest, most unbelievable self-you that you can imagine, your highest potential that you can see yourself being, even if it doesn't make any sense to you right now, pray for it, ask for it, beg for it, pray for it, cry for it. I remember when I was dating for many, many, many years, and I went to Rav Brevda in Bar Park, and I met him like a week before Purim, and the second I walked into his house, he looked at me and he's like, how old was I? I don't know, 24 maybe? I walked into his house and he said to me, you have to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning on Purim, and you have to, as much davening as you can daven. If you could say the whole Sefer Tehillim, amazing. Daven, you have to daven the entire thing. And it was funny because I was having such a hard time with shidduchim here, and I was having such a, I didn't know if I should stay here or not stay here. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know if I should be in America or not be in America or whatever, if the guys that I should date are in Israel or whatever. And after that Purim, something like, 3 months, I got a phone call from someone in Israel, and she said, we really want you to come work with us, so we want to fly you in. Would you consider coming here? And I was just like, yes. That was my answer right there. But I totally, I've never davened like that, like I've davened at Purim. I've never davened at Purim till that point, till I was that age, ever like that. Really woke up really when it was dark outside. In Israel this happens. In Israel, like everyone goes to the kotel like 4 o'clock in the morning. You end up at the kotel at 4 o'clock in the morning on Purim, and the entire place is packed. It's raining and it's packed. Every Purim basically rains in Yerushalayim. It's raining and it's packed. And you're like, what? You see all these ladies with their canes, and these old ladies are like running to daven, and it's like, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable because what? Because all these people are what? We all have the inside code to what's really going on in this world. We all have the inside code. We all have the behind the scenes. You think it's Obama. You think it's Bibi. You think it's China. You think it's this person. It's not anything. All these people are just, they're all puppets on strings. We pull the strings with our meisim, with the light that we bring down, with when Chas V'Shalom, it also works the opposite way also. When we do Averos, we bring more darkness into the world. Less clarity of Hashem. Less knowledge of Hashem. And then more koach to the enemy. That's how it works. That's how it happens. And when you think of it that way, when you think of mitzvahs and averos that way, before you say those words, even if you're upset, or before you, do whatever it is that you want to do that is not good, and it's halachically asur. Before you do that, you're going to think 1,700 times. Because 1 second, am I ready to take responsibility for everything that's going on? Am I ready to see Chas V'Shalom, another few Jews being blown up or killed or massacred or wherever it may be in the world? I'm not. But that's how it works. Every time I'm doing something, and it adds either to this or to that, to this side or to that side. And that's how it is. And that's how it works. Everything else is a facade. It's just a facade because Hashem created a world of teva, and it has to be that way, and we need presidents, and we need prime ministers, and we need an army, and we need all these things, but it's just a facade. Really, the person that's pulling the strings is the person that's working for the light. Really, that's the person that's pulling the strings. That's the person that's determining what's going on. I would really appreciate it if there was no talking. Sorry. Unless you have a question. Okay. He says like this. He says that Haman, every character in the story of Purim represents a personality, a character in us. Okay? Every character in the story is not really so much, again, we're not reading the Megillah because we want to hear what happened, because we know the Megillah by heart, and we've been there a million times to shul, and we've heard it so many times since we were very, very little. We learned it so many times, and the idea is not to chazer. That's not the idea. The idea is really, number one, is to see the Yad Hashem. Because when you're reading the Megillah, when you're following the Megillah, if you can follow the Megillah, that's amazing. Like as opposed to walking to shul, sitting there, looking who's around, checking everyone's shoes out, whatever, and hearing the Megillah and moving on. But really connecting to the outline of the story and understanding what really happened. It's amazing. First of all, you have to know that this took place over the course of 9 years. Okay, the story took place over the course of 9 years. For 9 years. From the time that the whole thing happened with Bixen and Seresh, till a year later when there was the whole, whatever. There was everything happened very, very slowly. It wasn't like, oh wow, look how that worked out. Oh, such coincidence, or wow, Yad Hashem. It was such Yad Hashem, but it was so Hester. The Hester Panim over there by Purim was huge. It was very, very difficult to see Yad Hashem. It was very, very difficult for them to connect to Hashem back then. It was very, very hard. It was very hard. The Jews at the time, it was very, very hard. It was very, very difficult. The Hester Panim was very big, just like it is today. We're in Gauls for 2,000 years. It would be nice to get some kind of revelation here and there. It would be so nice to have like a Kriyas Yam stuff here and there, or a Matan Torah here and there, or whatever all the previous generations experienced. It would be so nice, but we're like, kind of like schlepping along, trying to be good Jews. We're trying. And it says that this story took place over 9 years, and the Hester was so big and so thick that there was no way they couldn't see it. They couldn't see how everything was leading to their Yeshua. They couldn't see it. They were all going to die, and Yud, Dal, and Adar. That's it. It was all done. It was finished. And all of a sudden, the whole thing changed. It's really, really important to focus on these things, these concepts of even when I don't see, I know. And my knowledge of Hashem's being there for me and being in my life and being with me every step of my life and every step of my way is really, really somewhere that I have to invest a lot of effort and thought. That even though things seem so unfair and hard and difficult, or whatever it may be that's going on in my life, in my personal life, or my friend's life, or people that I know that are sick, or whatever it may be, I have to know. This is the way it is. The way it is that there's Hester Panim, that Hashem is behind the scenes, but He's holding my hand through the whole thing. He's holding my hand through the whole thing. You know that poem, Footsteps? Footsteps on the beach. This man was walking along the beach, and there were 2 footsteps on the beach. 4 footsteps on the beach. His and God's. And he was walking along the beach, and he says to Hashem, he says to God, he says, why was it when I was in the most hardest times in my life that there was only 1 set of footprints at the beach, on the sand? Why was it that I was alone when I was in the hardest times of my life? And then it's as if Hashem was responding to him, my sweet son, it was then that I carried you. It was his footsteps, it was not the man's. And it's very true. It's the way it is. And the concept is that once I'm able to like really work on my mind, once I'm able to really work on my thought, I have to bring it down to my day to day, my moment to moment, that Hashem is with me. He's with me, He's here, He's sitting here next to me, He's holding my hand, He's knowing everything is b'hashgacha pratis, everything is controlled, everything is very, 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 very much there. How I connect to it all depends on where I am in my mind. All depends on where I am in my heart. All depends on how much I want Him, and how much I tell Him that I want Him, how much I want to see You in my life. I know You're with me, but I want it to move from a place of knowledge to a place of feeling, of such, I so feel it, 100%, like as if like my best friend is standing next to me. And and I know that some people think like, okay, that's nice, but that's like a little whatever. Purim is the day. Purim is the day to ask for all these things. Purim is the day to go wild on your thoughts. Purim is the day to go wild on your emunah. Purim is the day to say, Hashem, you're bringing down the light. You decided to bring down this light during Purim? Great. I'm going to really take advantage of this. So this is what I want. When I'm going to go through any single terrible, horrible, hard time in my life, chas v'shalom, but anytime you test me and you try me, I want to see You. I want to know that You're with me. I want to see You on some level. I want to know that 100% I can get through this. I don't want to break. I don't want to get depressed. I don't want to fall apart. I don't want this. I want to know that You're with me. I want to have the strength. Show me my strength. Show me my potential. Show me who I really am. Show me my neshama. Show me, connect me to myself as opposed to my gashmias and my chitzonias. Connect me to my real self. What's really going on inside here? Be real. Real. There's no day like Purim. There is no day like Purim. And it's great, all the men get drunk. So we could totally get drunk without having to get drunk. We just get drunk in our prayers and get drunk in who we are. No one's going to stand there and be like, oh, you're so weird. Everyone's drunk, everyone's happy. It's all good. No one's going to be like, oh my gosh, she's so weird. Why are you davening for 17 hours? It's fine. It's good. It's great. We'll save your life. Okay. Let me see what else I just want to bring in here for a second. Sorry, one sec. Here we go. Haman. I wanted to say something about Haman. Haman is a Malik, right? Haman is a Malik. What happened? Klal Yisrael gets to the Midbar. Then the Midbar for 40 years. They move 42 times. Right? Hashem asks them to move 42 times. Anytime they camp, it could be for a day, it could be for a year, whatever. They have the Ananei Kavod show up. All of a sudden, Klal Yisrael see the Ananei Kavod. They're like, oh, we have to move. So they pack up their stuff and they start moving. And they pack up their stuff and they start moving. And then they settle and then they see the Ananei Kavod and they move. Right? They moved 42 times in 40 years. Okay? What happens? They get to Refidim. They get to Refidim and they start a place, one of the places that they camped out, and they start complaining. They start complaining that they want water and there's no water and they don't know what to do and they want to go back to Mitzrayim. What did you do to us? You brought us all the way out here to kill us? You brought us all the way out here to kill us from thirst? Just take us back to Egypt. Why did they say that? First of all, human psychology is brilliant here. Why do they do that? If anyone here is going for psychology, this is brilliant. That many times people would rather stay in their comfort zones, in the place that they know, even if they're miserable there, even if people are killing them there and beating them there and grabbing their babies and throwing them into the Nile, they would rather stay there because it's familiar. Familiar. Many times, I don't want to move and budge because my life, I'm familiar with my life, with the way things are right now. If I start changing things around and taking things on myself or whatever it is, who knows what's going to be? And it's kind of like everything is fine. Why am I shaking the boat? What? Don't fix it if it's not broken, right? It's fine. Everything's fine. That's what happened to them. They came out of Mitzrayim. They went through Yam Suf. They went through the Malchus. They went through Yam Suf. They saw the Ananei Kavod. They were protected completely. They had Kabbalah Torah. Okay. And then they're standing in the desert. You brought us out here to kill us from thirst. Just send us back to Egypt. Because in Egypt, they knew what to expect. And Egypt was familiar to them. And right when that happens, the second that happens, a Malik shows up on the scene. Even though Klal Yisrael didn't mess with the Malik, they didn't touch a Malik, they didn't start up with a Malik, there was no connection with them and a Malik, there was nothing. All of a sudden, a Malik shows up on the scene, a bunch of thugs, and they start messing around with the Jewish people, and that's what happened. We all know the story. What's the idea? And again, anything that we see down here is all because there's something spiritual going on. Okay? What happened? Why did this happen in Refidim? What does Refidim stand for? Al Shem Sherafu Yadeim Shel Yisrael Min Torah. In other words, they were lax in like their Torah observance. They were just like, whatever, we're from. Am I alive, on fire, passionate, excited, want to connect to Hashem, trying, working on it, pushing myself, excited, doing, going? Am I? Or am I from? From. Keep my Shabbos, I do my thing. I'm from. Go to college, I hang out with my friends. From. Where am I in my avodas Hashem? Sherafu Yadeim in the Torah, it says had dveikus from Hashem. They lost their dveikus from Hashem. What does dveikus mean? Devik, glue. If I were to be glued to Goldie here, I'd be glued to her. There's no way that I could just ignore her. She's glued to me, crazy glued. We're like one. Right? There's no way. Why? Because we're glued. That's the concept. A Jew's supposed to be glued to Hashem. We're supposed to be glued to Him. In other words, every single thing, and it's not a drag. Like, oh, here we go again. Person that thinks, oh, here we go again, never tasted Ruchnius. Never tasted Ruchnius. Never had that 2 o'clock in the morning tefillah by the kotel where they were just like soaring. Because we can have that all the time. We can have that all the time. We don't have to be in Israel for that. We can have that anywhere. What's the concept? How does Hashem work? What's the idea? It's very, very simple. Imagine you were in a house and all the windows had mud on them. All the windows had mud on them. Now you're in Florida. And it's like super duper duper sunny outside and it's hot and very, very, very sunny. Right? And you walk into this house and you're like, oh gosh, what is it? What's up with this place? Like, what? It's nighttime already? What? There's like what? It's nighttime already? It's not nighttime. The problem is that there's mud on your windows. So once you wash off the mud on your windows, all the sun can come in and then there's light. It's the same thing. When I don't see Hashem, when I don't feel like I want to connect, when I'm not inspired, when I'm not connected, when it's not something that I'm thirsting for, then it's because there's mud on my windows. Because I have to do tshuva on something or for something. There's mud on my windows. If I were to take off the mud off of me, off my neshama, All of a sudden I would see, I would connect. My tefillah would not be the same tefillah. My Shabbos would not be the same Shabbos. My tznius would not be the same tznius. I would walk around, I would be a flaming BT, even if I'm an FFB. And that's how we're supposed to be. That's our tafkid. That's what our mission is on this planet. That's what we're here for. Or going, we're supposed to be a light. We're supposed to be a light unto the nations. We're supposed to show them what morality is, what spirituality is, what goodness is, what relationships are all about, what they're supposed to look like, what man and woman are supposed to look like. Not what they think man and woman are supposed to look like, or what categorizes a woman as hot or a man as hot. We're supposed to dictate what's hot. We're supposed to dictate the fashion. Because that's our job. That's what we're supposed to do. Because we know the truth. We know the secrets behind all the stuff that's going on here. And behind all the lies, we know the truth. That's our mission. So the idea is like this. What happened with Amalek? What happened with Amalek? Amalek stands for suffix. That's the gematria of Amalek. Suffix. Doubt. That the second a Jew starts having any kind of doubt, and sometimes it's very, very subconscious. Sometimes the doubt is very subconscious. Sometimes it's like, so, like, what's just the bit, like working on your ruchnius is hard work. The results are amazing. But ruchnius work is hard work, especially no one's paying me for it. No one's giving me any money for it. And it's hard work to pull yourself out of bed, to daven 20 minutes before you have to really incorporate it into your life. My teacher in 6th grade, I remember she drew us a picture of a donut. In the middle had like jelly, like a jelly donut, like a Hanukkah sufganiyah. And she said, let's drive here. I'm just going to use this Hamantashen for an example. Okay? She says like this. What's a good donut? What's a good donut? What's a very, very good donut? A donut that, however you cut it, you're going to get a little bit of jam in it. That's a good donut. But there's some donuts that are just like, you cut them and you cut them and you cut them, or you bite them and 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 you can't get the jam. And there's like a little tiny thing of jam that they like squirt in, like a drop. You know those donuts? Have you ever had those donuts? Where like there's like a drop of jam on the side? Yes? Yes. Okay, what's an awesome donut? An awesome donut is like it's really filled with whatever you like, okay? Caramel, or use your imagination, whatever you like, okay? What's the she'ifa? The she'ifa is that we should be jelly donut Jews. That however you slice us, whatever it is I'm involved in my life, at work, at school, at home, with friends, when I'm out, whatever it is, that there's Jew there. There's Jew there, there's connection there, there's I love Hashem there. I'm passionate about my life, about Torah, about my Judaism, about the blood that's flowing through my veins because I'm a Yid, and I know about it, and I care about it, and I'm connected to Hashem, and I want to be more connected to Hashem. And I'm going to try to do anything in my power to be more connected to Hashem. And the fact that you're sitting here today just shows me that you want, subconsciously, consciously, wherever you are holding, it shows me that the people that show up to classes that they don't have to show up, they're not mandatory, and no one's pushing them to do it, and it's cold outside, and it's late, and there's so many things to do, and I just want to go to sleep, or whatever it may be, and you come out to hear more Torah, especially if you've already heard a few classes today, it just shows you, proves to you that subconsciously or consciously, very consciously, you want that kirva, you want that closeness. Because I feel like the people that have tasted it, it's like we become addicted. You get addicted to like, even if you fall away for a little bit, and then you hear a song, or you watch a clip that's like very, very moving, and it's very, very like wow, or you see I was by a Hafresh Challah a few weeks ago, and it was like, oh my gosh, it was like the most amazing evening that I've had in many years. There was this Rebbetzin there that came from Israel, from Ashdod, and she spoke. The whole place was not religious. No, all the women were in pants. It was here in Hewlett, and it was amazing. It was just, first of all, there were 100 women there. This Rebbetzin that's speaking, this Israeli woman, she was in Amsterdam. She like totally had nothing to do with anyone that was Jewish. She married a guy. She was on Broadway. She was the leading role in Fiddler on the Roof and in Wizard of Oz. And she was like, she showed us all her clips of like all her awards that she won. And she was like, really, she won like Oscars in Amsterdam, like level. And then you see like this woman that's standing in front of you, and no, she sang in the mic, and she sounded like Like, are you really singing? Like, I was looking for like her thing, like she's cheating. No, she's like really singing. She sounds like she's like has this like stunning like opera voice. She's stunning, gorgeous. And then she has a whole story about what happened to her and how she got back to Judaism and to Frumkai, and she lives in Israel now. And it was amazing because what was I saying that? Oh, there was a part of her video that she was singing. I can even show it to you. Part of her video that she was singing, and then she showed pictures on her projector of Yerushalayim. No pictures of Yerushalayim. Now I was living in Israel for a total of 11 years. And I was living only in Yerushalayim. And I know every path and street and corner and alleyway and everything. I like walked the streets for many hours of my life there. And I used to I called myself like a tour guide. That was like not an official tour guide, but like I would love taking people and like show them stuff. Loved it. And she showed it. And ever since I've been here, I didn't really connect to my last kufa in Yerushalayim, my last time there, like the last 6 months that I was there were very, very difficult for me. So like when I left, I wasn't like sobbing that I was leaving. I was like, I'm moving on, I'll be back. I have to go do other things with my life right now. I know that I have a mission in America, I'll be back. And I didn't really, my husband's always like, every night he's like weeping and crying to be in Eretz Yisrael, and I'm just like, I don't feel it. And then all of a sudden she showed these pictures and like she was singing in the background. No, I couldn't. I couldn't stop. I just couldn't stop. I couldn't stop. I was embarrassed because I was sitting all the way in the front. People were like passing me tissues and like going like this. You know, when people do that, like this, and you're like, you don't understand. I know I look so stupid. And like I wore a tichel and I wore this long skirt. Everyone's sitting there in jeans and leggings, and I'm like sobbing, like sobbing, because I'm like looking at these pictures and. But I realized that no matter how far I thought I was, and it bothered me that I wasn't missing Israel. It bothered me for so many months that I wasn't missing Israel. I'm like, why didn't I miss Yerushalayim? Why did I miss it? What's wrong with me? Am I not Jewish? What's wrong with me? Am I not Jewish? And then when that happened, all of a sudden, like everything came up for me. Everything came up for me. All the stuff that I kind of like put away because it's not time to think about it or whatever happened subconsciously to make me put it away and not focus on that, all of a sudden everything came up to the point where I couldn't stop myself, and I'm a control freak. So like, I'm going to be like, and then I'll go to the bathroom. No, I just did it. I just broke down in front of everyone. I was like, no.